I'm Richard Elishaji to the Labour Party presidential candidate in the general past election. Peter Obi though condemned the recent bomb blast in Borno State and increase in insecurity in Nigeria. Meanwhile, it also urged the federal government and our judicial system to obey the court of law and grant IPOB proscribed leader Nnamdi Kanu bail. You get the point. According to Peter Obi, he said may court obey the ruling and let federal government obey the court ruling that granted Nnamdi Kanu bail so that he can uh, move ahead with his normal life and he can be granted bail so that he can be visiting the court from his home. You get the point. Meanwhile, Nigerian government they say he see they can never allow the court to rule in favor of Nnamdi Kanu and he can never be granted bail yet. Meanwhile, they say if they grant Nnamdi Kanu bail, so insecurity issues when they happen for Southeast will be the order of the day. Say everything go calm down. You get the point? So he has urged federal government and our judicial system to grant Nnamdi Kanu bail because that we have to curb the issue of insecurity in the southeast.
The first primary work of government is security of life and property. It is the foundation in which people can actually live in a nation because nobody can stay in an insecure place. And it is worrisome what is happening in Nigeria, waking up every day with killings, kidnappings, abductions, and everywhere, which has now made Nigeria one of the most insecure places on the surface of the earth. In fact, it's leading to a failed nation. And that requires an urgent attention of everybody. In the Southeast in particular, again, that is the same situation. As I thank the government for their effort, there's need to do more by all leaders to ensure that we tackle this menace. In the Southeast, I urge the various government members, I said, while thanking them, to come together as a family. There's need for the governors of the Southeast to work as a family, to be able to tackle that. I'm saying that from the little experience I had when we were there. It is important. And even checking the harsh economic conditions now, even in development and economic agenda, I want to see the Southeast governors work closely more as one. Because they can do. And I believe they know each other, they can interact. We want to see them come together. We want to see them bring this entire zone together. And I'm preaching the same thing of other zones. While the federal government as far that overshadows everybody, the various zones should come together. In the Southeast in particular, it is very urgent. I'm again saying from my little experience, in which they can call meetings, even meetings at times of those of us who were there before, to come together and interact about a common purpose. This is very important. I don't see anything why his continued detention, quite frankly. Especially as the law, the courts have granted him bail. Government must obey the law. Rule of law is an intrinsic asset that we must cherish and live with. And I've said I'm going to discuss with every agitator. And I use the same opportunity to play to government to ensure that all those who are in similar conditions are released and discussed with. We're a democratic government. We shouldn't be doing things that are arbitrary and not within the law. I'm against riots. I'm against destruction of government assets. I'm not against peaceful protests. But it must be for reasons, not for interest. Often a time here you see protests being to satisfy a particular interest. It must be properly articulated. There's things that is happening that is against and properly directed. Properly articulated and properly directed. So you don't go. I recall when people were saying they're protesting against police or any other organization of government, and I said to them, no, let's deal with the leadership. If we have good leadership, their agents can be bad. But what happens here is that Nigerians say, oh, our problem is police, our problem is EFCC, our problem is ICPC, our problem is army. No, the problem is the leadership. If the leadership is, if the leaders are competent, have the capacity, doing the right thing, their agents will toe in the line. And that is what I want. I want to see these things that are properly organized. I want to see people listening. And I'm using the same opportunity to say, all those who are being held because of, say, NSAS protests and everything, or because of freedom of speech or journalists, should please be released immediately. We're a democratic country. People have a right under the Constitution to express themselves freely under freedom of speech. They have also right to peacefully protest. And we must listen to them. We must listen to those who say they are not happy. That's why it is a democratic nation. We should stop acting dictatorial and behaving as if it is not a democratic country. I know we're in a state capture, but then we should act in a manner that shows some decency. We politicians are preoccupied by election. That's not what I'm talking about. How do we reduce the price of food? Our people are dying of hunger. How do we make life conducive for the poor Nigerians? How do we make sure that people earn more money in order to live? How do we pull people out of poverty? That should be our concern, not forming mega party or this thing. If forming mega party is to be able to provide what I'm saying now, I'm all for it. If it is about state capture so we can start continuing the same consumption, no. But if it's to move it to production, yes.